and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Red Reads. I am your host, Mystery Red, and this is my disclaimer. This beta read in Concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're looking at a piece of original fiction. We are looking at, I believe this is chapter 14 of Infinite Shades by Crystal Committee, and they have notes for me. I have a playlist for all of my reads for Crystal Committee, and you can click on that and view any of my prior reads if you'd like to follow along or get caught up if you're new here. Welcome. Let's see. Rochelle. Okay, so, all right, so note for me. So I'm going to read these notes kind of before we dive in. I think she asked me to do that. These notes seem to work well, so everything is all in one video read together, so I hope you don't mind, and I do love the notes in video comments. So in this chapter, I've been struggling with it. Here in the opening section, there are snippets highlighted in blue and light red. Some action dialogue, different committee quote. I tossed this to my group, and well, don't be surprised it came back 50-50 on which one works best. So I'm still kind of stuck, but I lean on the second one personally, but they both work good. So direct notes on this chapter. Number 1, Riley is a new character. He's been mentioned before, but per my usual, no real physical description given. It's not my forte, and I feel I'm following into tropes in doing it. I might revisit it. You feel like you're following into tropes? What, giving a physical description, maybe? Okay, I'm working on something with his character trying to be not so obvious. I won't spoil it here in the beginning, but after this chapter, maybe offer me some feels on what you got from him. I'll get my own from your read if it's working or not, but I don't want to taint the reader by hitting them over the head with it. Number 3, the committee. I played with a couple of dynamics, so this chapter gets the majority of the it's too long, it's too short, it's tagged too much, not enough type stuff. Number 4, for the viewers and introspection into how this is all happening, a behind the scenes per se, twice in this chapter, there was what I call a rant, both times between Sam and the committee. They were both about 2,500 words each. It was a really long session in her mind. That messes with my pacing, so I spent some time trying to keep the integrity of the rant intermingled with the real world happenings. This is probably the hardest thing to do. So I wonder, did you write it on the side or did you cut it? Like, did you see that it was 2,500 words and then cut it? And it is really, really hard to do. I can see I can already tell you just from what you're saying, I can tell that it'd be very difficult. What we might screen for is, I'm going to see what happens over here, but basically when I'm looking for what to keep and what to let go of because it's too much, it comes down to asking yourself, literally for each line, do I need this? Like, is it essential that I have this to propel the story forward? Now, sometimes we're kind of laying the foundation of a buildup. And so even though a line you read might seem innocuous, it turns out that you need it because the next line is going to be a build on it. And then the next line after that, a continuing build. And then you're going to use it for a purpose. Like you're building a tension or you're setting something up. And so you need each line. And so that's when it's really hard to do when you're trying to decide what to keep and what to let go of, is what purpose does it serve? It does help. It doesn't mean sometimes letting go of the words is hard. So here I'm wondering, how many did we try to keep? And the ranting can be important depending on what it is that you're wanting it to do. Like I said, if it's going to stress her out, if it's going to start to mess with her mind, because it is literally happening in her mind. So there's a lot at risk there. Okay, we're going to keep going because there's more lines, there's more notes down here. So we're going to go to note number 2. Number 5, with all of these additions, I have not gone through it for the unnecessary word, phrases, sentences, paragraph thing I do. I also have not streamlined it. To me, that is clipping my dialogue along with the prose and the internalization and internal dialogue to work with each other. 6, I work with a lot of people who write with AI or use AI to fill in where they are lacking or struggling. No judgment. So I will preface this with, I wrote every single word of this, the dialogue, the action, the descriptions lacking, and especially the rants. I did use my AI to check me on format and grammar, for we all know when squishing 2 documents together, it gets messy. In my case, inserting one ramble into an established one. Yes, absolutely. And I don't know, I think we might get more and more comfortable with cutting out chunks and then pasting it in somewhere else, or even cutting out chunks and letting it go. Like, I'm getting ready to cut basically an entire chapter that I've decided I don't need. It's not helping my story, so I'm just going to pull it out. And when I listened, I had emailed myself my manuscript, what I had written so far. I'd compiled and then emailed it to myself, and I had this AI read it to me. That's all I used it for, was just to read it so I could listen and kind of get the experience that you guys get from me. Although it doesn't give me a crit, it doesn't, it's not that. I can just listen to the sound of it, and I can pick and choose if there's a part that didn't work for me, or something that didn't make sense, or something that didn't sound right when it read for me. So it does help. It just doesn't give you that insight that I kind of give, or that how I interpreted something. It's not going to tell me that. It's literally just like having an audiobook. And so I identified an entire chapter as garbage. And so I need to toss it. But when we start cutting and pasting and moving scenes from the back up to the front, then we have to worry that we've created gaps somewhere else, or is it going to read seamlessly if we take it out? Sometimes it turns out that scene really belonged in the front, and then it just kind of closes up like neat, little suture row there, and you don't even know it ever happened. But sometimes it creates a gap, and then you have to write, and you have to rework, and then you have to rethink, well, did this happen before this, and did this happen before that? And then I end up finding myself rereading my entire document to make sure that I've not created a ripple or a wrinkle from a ripple. Okay, so number 7, this is geared to the new writers. This chapter was originally written in 2009, what you might call talking heads. It has evolved very little in the years since, most grammatical things. It was last year what I would consider a final draft. Then I added the committee and internalization. So this is a first draft plus a final in combination and needs some adjustments. I guess what I'm trying to say there is, don't try to make it perfect and formulated on the first run. You will never finish it. So one of the things I do like about the practice of where I've written fan fiction, my first drafts come out a lot cleaner than they used to, because for a couple of reasons. One, all the things that I've learned, I practice. You're not supposed to think about them until after you've gotten your story down, because it can disrupt creativity. But with a brain that works the way mine does, in this quirky, weird way, I can't. It really did stunt my creativity. It caused me a writer's block. So I can't, my brain won't go forward into the story if I don't write it with all the rules that I know. And so what happens is I come out with a clean draft, a cleaner draft. Obviously it can always need to be polished, but I am stunted in my creativity. Like, my brain wants to go in too many different directions, and it definitely did. It stunted my writing itself. Like, I couldn't get into the story because my brain is too distracted by the rules. So there was it's good and bad kind of thing. Let's see. We are going to dive in here. I'm having these thoughts of like, okay, a couple things. So as I'm reading the notes, I'm thinking, if we're not done with the draft, should we give it to the beta. Because, I mean, I guess there's parts in here that, I haven't streamlined it. There's notes in here that, like, a lot of them appear to, I haven't, parts that you hadn't done. So I'm kind of wondering, should I be looking at this chapter yet if we are not done with it? There's no rush in sending me a chapter. So, I'm going to read it and see what I can answer over to the side, but it's kind of like, if I'm reading it and I'm pointing things out, I'm just trying to figure, is it helpful if you would already have found it on your own? I'm not sure. So, like, I kind of feel like before we give the beta the draft, we probably should have done everything we can think of to it before we pass it, so that we get the most. Well, first of all, you're paying me, so you want to get the most for your money, and that means you want to have taken it as far as you can take it. Now, if this is a situation where you can't see up for down because you've looked at it so many times, then I can see how a fresh set of eyes will help you find the things to draw your attention to that are noticed. Some thoughts about physical descriptions. We don't want an info dump on what someone looks like and what they're wearing. It's more like working in subtly here and there little clues. You don't have to give a full description, okay? We don't need what they're wearing unless they're, casual dress getting ready for a scene that's and the clothes are relevant to the scene. You could just say business smart, you know what I'm saying? Or business casual or something like that. And you don't even have to say that. You could be like, you can show it. If you're trying to use, for like facial features, when you first meet someone, you look at their face. What is a distinct feature that you might notice? It might be their nose. And maybe the character that's looking at them has an internal thought that flickers through their mind. Oh, that freckles on the end of his nose, like dark freckles. What? What was he saying? And then it's worked in casually. It's not, oh my God, those are the most stunning blue eyes I've ever seen in my life. Like, are they real? Are they battery powered? So, our characters become real and vivid when we give them depth and texture, and we have random internal thoughts throughout our day. When you're looking at something, you probably if you're distracted, you might not notice what it looks like at all. And this is not just people, this is just in general. Or when you're focused on something and maybe you've paused and you're contemplative, you might give notice to whatever is directly in front of you and really give it your full attention, in which all of a sudden every detail of it might become extraordinarily vivid. When you're writing descriptions, you keep them subtle and light and passing, and you don't have to have one for every single thing. You just kind of want to give a light setting of the scene. When I first meet a character, I like to get a general, I'd like to know their hair and eye color and, that kind of thing. I don't need super details unless some distinct feature stands out. And I can kind of create from those two pieces of information a kind of generalized visual of a male or a female, long hair, short hair. You don't have to say in detail, and you don't have to do it all at once. But is it important to you what your character looks like? And you don't want to have to do a play-by-play. So maybe we should look at examples of maybe a description where it is kind of in your face and very telling and like an info dump. Like, she was wearing a tuxedo tie and a black leather jacket. It was an odd pairing. Maybe that's lending itself to a unique, quirky character. Okay. She wore too much eye makeup and, whatever. Is it relevant to the character? All right. If it's relevant to the scene and relevant to the character, that's when you have, you can go into that working in of what it is. If each article of clothing paints the picture and it's relevant to the scene as you get to know this character and their personality, then it's relevant. Otherwise, you can keep it light and general and just kind of work it in. It's argumentative, I guess, that there's different thought processes, I suppose. Crystal Committees told me they like for the reader to kind of get their own idea of what they think the character looks like. I just like a general, very general hair and eye color, because I can take it from there. And, sometimes shaggy hairstyle, or a mop of hair, or waist length hair, or curly, something that kind of gives me a general idea that I can kind of create what this character looks like. If you don't give me any clues at all, I don't have anything. And so then I don't really connect with the character because I can't visualize them in my mind, and then I can't relate to them, or I'm distracted by wanting a visual for them so that I can feel closer to them. How it is done is with finesse. So it is worked in casually. We could probably harvest up some good examples of working in what someone looks like versus just a all-in-one breakdown of what they're wearing. You didn't do that here. I'm just highlighting to say, you don't want to just all-in-one paragraph cram in every detail of what this person looks like. It can be sprinkled in along the way. If you don't want to do it, that is your choice. You are the author and therefore the god of the story. So you can do that. It is just what I want as a reader to kind of connect with the character. So let's see, what else did you talk about in here? Let's see, committee internalization. So we had the talking heads, okay, and then we used AI, like AI for format and grammar. I've used AI to actually read my story to me. With all these additions, I have not gone through the unnecessary. So this number 5 is the part where I was like, should I be reading this if we haven't done all of our things before we pass it to me? So I'm kind of thinking what that tells me is we probably are wanting me to look more at this blue and red and figure out. And so what was the question surrounding it? I've been struggling with it. Here in the opening section, there are snippets highlighted in blue and light red. Some action dialogue, different committee quote. I tossed this to my group and I'm not surprised it came back 50-50. Okay. All right. So what exactly, we're going to dive in and see what happens here. I'm not really sure what the blue and the red are, but maybe after I read it, it'll all of a sudden make sense to me. Thanks for the invite, Agent Riley says through a yawn as they wait at a stoplight. Don't thank me yet, Sam says. Sleep deprivation does... Whoa. Okay. I'm going to stop myself. So we have the same exact thing twice right there. Okay. All right, we're going to keep going. Don't thank me yet, Sam says. Sleep deprivation does weird things to people. Riley's drooping eyelids and sluggish movements prove her point. Running on fumes will either earn you a medal or put you on a stretcher, just like so many before you, sacrificing yourself for duty. How noble. She shoves the judgment aside. But you looked like you could use a break. A couple of days' worth of sleep? How is it you're so functional? Sam accelerates as the light changes. Functional, right. More like barely holding it together. Compartmentalized lies propped up with duct tape and denial. Already having a home here makes it much easier. I didn't have to coordinate a cross-country move like the rest of you. A half-truth I can live with. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Someone in the committee quotes Sir Walter Scott. Give it time and your roots of deceit will strangle you. All right, so we've got 2 versions of the same paragraph and you're wanting to know which one works better. All right, let's read the other one. Sam accelerates as the light changes. Functional, right. More like barely holding it together. Compartmentalized lies propped up with duct tape and denial. Already having a home here makes it much easier. I didn't have to coordinate a cross-country move like the rest of you. a half-truth I can live with. 3 may keep a secret if 2 of them are dead, someone in the committee recites, attributing it to Ben Franklin. Sam rolls her eyes. Nice one, Ben. I like the first one better. Yeah. So basically that was just a personal preference. What's the difference between them beyond the quotes being different? Let's see. What was this? Yeah. Okay, so just a different quote. I kind of like the first one. All right. We're going to keep going. You said it was important, and I owe you a favor or two. Non-official, I take it, since you played it off as lunch in front of Scott. Yeah, but lunch is included. Deal. So fill me in on where we're headed, where we're heading, he asks as they turn a corner. Local all-night pharmacy. When I got home, I called in a prescription under my name. Might I ask what for? Narcotic pain medication. Cheaper and easier ways to get a night's sleep, unless... Quite the interference you made there, Sam teases. Beneath the surface, it's a balancing act, half-truths and full-blown lies, all carefully maintained. I tweaked my back a few weeks before I went to the academy. It was prescribed then, but I never filled it. Didn't need it. Remember Watergate? A voice from the committee chimes in. A few little lies to cover tracks, and look where that ended. Resignations and ruined reputations. Oh, how dare you take the road with Nixon and anew. Ugh, conversation for later, but I'll give you the point for now. Okay, I'm pausing. So I'm going to scroll back. Okay. All right, so she's in the car with Riley. And I do not know. I don't think I know Riley's gender. Sam accelerates the light changes. This kind of thoughts. Oh, there, he. All right, so Riley's a he. Okay. Let's see. Okay, where were we? I got interrupted. All right, so Riley is a he. And local all-night pharmacy. When I got home, I called in a prescription under my name. I asked for what for. Narcotic pain medication. Cheaper and easier ways to get a night's sleep. Unless... Okay. So we're working good. All right. So I'm looking over here to the side. We've got 46 pages. I am going to read for approximately about 45 minutes and then stop and make a separate video if all of this is one chapter. Okay. So we are going to... do that. Okay. I'm wondering if this space should be here. I'm hitting delete because I don't think this is a break. There's like not any little asterisks, so nothing to imply that we're supposed to have a break. So I think it's just an extra gap there. So mark that. So then why call it now? Why call it in now? It wasn't for me. Not legal, he says with no hint of judgment. Oh, I guess I should have read it differently. Not legal, he says with no hint of judgment. Okay, so I'm just going to point out we have a third says. Not that we shouldn't use says, but, and I'm inclined to leave that one, but I would change one of the two you got up here at the top. Let's see. The wheel creaks under Sam's grip as she prepares for the committee's input. Laws are tools, not shackles. The Boston Tea Party was rebels tossing tea to defy tyranny. Sometimes you break the rules to break chains. Harriet Tubman didn't bow to laws that upheld slavery. The Underground Railroad ran on courage, not compliance. An unjust law is no law at all. Martin Luther King Jr. New morality trumps legality. The suffragettes faced jail to claim their right to speak. Some laws were made to be challenged. Did you just agree with me and back up the argument? Argument, back up the argument. You did. What brought this about? A committee within the committee? Yeah, don't break my head on that more. Please don't. Accepting the help. My roommate Amanda, a chronic pain patient, Sam explains. She has her prescription and admitted to taking more than she should have, shorting herself. Used yours to avoid being flagged on an early refill request? Riley shifts in his seat, yawning. You got it. She pulls up to a stop sign, waving some pedestrians across. Now here's where it gets weird. We're just up the street from the pharmacy, and with Amanda's mobility not being the best while I was away, we made special arrangements to have them delivered. Following you so far. When it arrived, the label had her name and prescription number. I'm verifying this. I noticed the non-deducting refill tally. Amanda Severin, the burden you willingly took, yet the one who endangers you both. Even the mighty Caesar trusted Brutus, and look how that ended. Benedict Arnold swore loyalty until a better offer came along. The thoughts darken, relentless. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Okay. Marie Antoinette relied on the faith of her allies, convinced their loyalty would save her, but she still faced the guillotine. Trust doesn't stop the blade. Someone is gaming the system and screwed up in the presence of a federal agent with an eye for detail. Not smart. No, Sam agrees. Okay. So we're kind of looping back to this thing with Amanda's medicine, which was mentioned, I feel like, a chapter or so ago. It was not last chapter. I feel like it was like the one before that or so. Section 2. Okay. So just anyone who's joining us for the first time, Crystal Committee blocks out their writing in sections to help them manage it when they're editing. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Okay. You want me to verify the call made it to the pharmacy? Ensure you put in the right number and stuff? You know, it could just be a glitch where you have the same address, Riley suggests. Thought occurred to me, what if it's just a mistake, or worse, what if it isn't? Cowards die many times before their deaths, comes the Shakespearean warning. The dread of what might happen, the anticipation, can be worse than facing the danger itself. Like Chamberlain waving his paper at 1938, returning from meeting Hitler, declaring peace for our time. Okay, there we go. You hypocrites, Sam fires. You don't let me have the hope or the relief, only the aftermath. The blood, the bodies, the cost of every misstep. You make me relive the carnage, the deaths that followed over and over. Just when I was giving you some leeway, you pull this crap. Okay, so I feel like... Oh, okay. Clemens, Riley cowers. Okay, good. I was just going to question that. I'm like, wait, she's yelling out loud, and then she's having this big internal thing, and then what's Riley thinking? And literally there he is over here going, what? You all right over there? Okay, sorry, not for you. I'm having a not-so-little argument with the host, heir, and historian. Okay, I get identifying streams of thought, and I'm not wanting to know too much, but who is winning? He asks with caution. Yet to be determined, she chuckles, getting the sense from him. Are you seriously wanting to bet on them? Let's see. So Riley doesn't know she's got this whole party in her brain. He just thinks she's kind of loopy, and who can blame him? Because I would be worried too about the person sitting next to me. She chuckles, getting the sense from him. I'm gonna leave that. Maybe it just wants. I hate it when it does that. I'm just wanting it to like chuckles. All you're trying to do is add a comma. We don't need to mark out a whole bunch of stuff. It's just excessive. Okay. He shrugs. Can you blame me? I mean, it's all made up, so you can skew the odds. Not like real money changes hands. I have similar, though. They have better names, not all starting with H. Sam laughs. You got me there. How's your history of the non-textbook version? What's written? Perfect, if I've seen it. What's behind it? The stuff they squished to make it? No. He yawns again. Then I put your money on the air, no more than $20. Okay, top limit on the air, though I have no idea why, but I trust you, he adjusts. Back to why we're out, since you're involved, called in a prescription you didn't need, Riley continues. Sam does her best to squash the voices of the committee, now arguing over the tags she's given them. I would rather avoid the questions if it turns out there's something more to it. She navigates the turn. Amanda can't afford unnecessary scrutiny. Neither can I. Justice must be steadfast, unyielding to the tides of power or sentiment, for only then does it serve the greater good. Sam's grip falters for a moment. The cadence, the formality. Charles de Mullion? She asks out loud. I don't think that was for me, Riley whispers, looking at her as if he's trying to make sense of the sudden declaration. But footnotes mostly. 16th century legal guy and rather critical of the Catholic Church and the feudal system. If he's on Team Historian, I'm going to change my bet. It wasn't, Sam replies, suppressing a smile. But you're right, and no changing after the cards are dealt. What kind of poker do you play? Riley chuckles. Not the kind most do. I'll shut up now. It's okay, Sam sighs. I'm just working through some things. The committee's argument spirals, still preoccupied with their titles. As the bickering escalates, a mocking refrain plays in Sam's mind. I fought the law and the law won, drawing on every historical figure who tried and failed to beat the system. The refrain carries a grim satisfaction, as if history itself stands ready to condemn her. Another one bites the dust. Okay, we're good. I kind of wonder if there was an extra space there, but I don't think there is. Maybe there is? Maybe? Nope. I don't think so. We're good. Another one bites the dust follows, the tone smug, as if to remind her how often defiance has ended in defeat. You know, I gave you pacifists, even idealistic dreamers, but defeatists? Wow, no wonder you always lose. And that another one bites the dust is inspirational. Butt yourselves out of my generation and stop laying your interpretation on music of the time. Wrong. Okay, on that one you had a point, but not this time. Go off and argue about the 3 H's. Oh, you don't like that? How about id, ego, and superego? I've got plenty in the gray matter for you to figure that out and categorize your collective selves. Why am I listening to Dumoulin? He waited patiently until I wasn't super busy, unlike the rest of you. I know he disagrees with 3/4 of you. Tough. He's with you, and I didn't make the rules for admission to your collective. Riley breaks her internal dialogue. Here's hoping the non-deducting tally is just a miscommunication between the software and the printer, and the pharmacy hasn't noticed it, because if it's not, we're going to have to get a warrant and make a bigger deal of it. Yeah. You okay with this? She asks, redirecting the focus to him. Totally, especially if it involves food, and no mention of my knowing of 16th century dead dudes. Sam laughs. It does. Donnie's is right next door, some of the best this town has to offer. Your slip of information is safe, as long as mine is. You mean Hippocrates and the D-dude? He places his fingers to his lips, turns it, and makes to toss it away. Done deal. I couldn't explain if I tried. Welcome to the club. Yours I'm cool with, but the Bureau, we talked about this kinda in our way. I'm not cut out for this. You are, they just don't know it. Don't answer but how many stop signs did we go through? Stoplights? How were the cars parked, and how many of the license plates did you get? All of them. You know this, but no buts. She parks, spotting a young man hunched over his phone near the corner, his posture radiating wariness. I made you a deal at the academy. You stuck it out. I'd help you with where you feel you're deficient, so... Riley follows her gaze. You're testing me. No, just being a friend. Thoughts on your observation of me? You know him. Yes, who I will call Dial-a-Dealer from last night, she replies. Interesting choice of words. Will he recognize you? Riley asks, rubbing his eyes. Okay. I paused for a second. It was an echo. It was a sound echo, and it's nothing I would change. My brain grabbed it, and I was like, why do I think that I have more than one mention of eyes in close proximity? I don't. It was an echo on a sound. I'm going to keep going. Called me by name, so yeah, I'm certain he noticed the badge. Surprised I was back early. Got rather nervous. Think he'll bolt if he sees you? Distinct possibility. Use what you're seeing, what you've heard, and formulate an opinion. I don't do opinions. Then colorations of facts. The approach, my words and actions, and what you see now and have seen on the way. Riley studies her, an unspoken challenge in his stare. You know, more is happening than you've mentioned. Yeah, if duh doesn't smack you upside the head, then I will. She doesn't elaborate. I don't like running, but you're good at it. Beat Collins. Riley, use that to assess the now, this moment in time. Is me chasing him down the best? You don't want to do it, so it's me. I see 7 compatriots, and you're going to handle them? No, too many variables, and I don't have enough cuffs. Something different, subterfuge, but I'm not good at that. You're part of a team who is? You. Other than me, Sam states. Andrews? No. Chavez? Collins. No other answer than you, Sam. I will break you of that, Sam winks. Part of my job, so you don't have your team here to back you up. What's your choice? Distract. I kind of Distract. Wait. I kind of think we might need another comma there. I'm not really sure. But I know you're really good at it and I'm not. But when I read it, I needed it. That's what we're going to go with. Okay. Let me try it again. Distract. Because this is your neighborhood. You're bringing me to a place you know to eat. The pharmacy you mentioned is right here. He points to it. I go tech, you go people, then we go eat. Us together, binary, but you want me to see something, to do something you can't or won't in the drugstore. This is what you call extra, he gestures to dealer and his crew. To the dealer and his crew. You and Andrew's stuff. Yeah, now you're seeing it. So if he runs, Sam raises her phone and snaps a picture. Let him go. No reason to let on we're suspicious. As you said, I'm just taking a fellow agent to one of my favorite eateries. Shall we? She unbuckles and opens her door. Riley does the same and looks over the car top to her. You're weird, you know that? I've been called worse. You're the cover. Riley sees the man's attention drawn to them. You mind if I dip into the pharmacy and grab some aspirin before we eat? Sure, why not? Sam replies, walking around the car. She leans in. Curious, she mumbles. Options of them running are less if we don't notice. We're just there. I could use the aspirin. If he ran, I'd have wondered why, Riley says, stretching again. Then I'd have to chase him. Ugh, too tired. Are you admitting laziness? Sam nudges him towards the door. More efficient use of the resources I have. Isn't that what you've been trying to teach me? You're getting there, Sam chuckles. All right, section 3. Hey, Sam, Gilbert's voice brings the past rushing back. Sam forces a smile. Gilbert, she replies, I thought you worked the early morning shift. I was hoping to avoid crossing your path. I'm not ready to explain this to Riley yet. I do. John was coming down with something, so I'm filling in. How have you been? Haven't seen you in a while. Good, she adds for Riley's benefit. Wait, is Riley with her? Okay. Are we still in the same... Are we in a new scene? Wait. Oh, no, they're approaching the Gilbert guy on the road. Okay, that's the guy they were seeing, so they're approaching him. She knew who he was? I didn't realize she knew who he was. Okay. Wait. All right, so that's what I think is happening. So I noticed they pulled up. They're in front of this pharmacy and restaurant, and they see this guy, and they want to go talk to him. If he runs, they're like, don't chase him, you know. That's what I think is happening here. That's what I'm gathering. All right, so I didn't realize they knew who he was. Why should I have known? Okay, was I supposed to know that they knew who he was? I'm wondering. Okay, so back here in the conversation, they were saying you know him, but they didn't mention his name. So that's where I think I got. Okay, this is what happened. I was like, what did I miss here? So I scrolled back, and it says here they knew him. He's the who I will call dial-a-dealer from last night. So, you know him, yes, who I will call dial-a-dealer from last night. So that's the guy that they're approaching down here. I think when my brain saw section 3, even though I know that that's just internal for you, it thought new scene. And so it kind of, I was resetting my brain to jump in wherever you put me, and I had checked out from the scene. So it's not anything you did. It's just that any kind of break triggers my brain to say, okay, we're setting up a new scene, but that's not what we were doing. We were continuing. That's just a break. I know what it is. That's still how my brain is kind of trained. So I know what happened there. Okay. So, let's see. Although, are you admitting laziness? Sam nudges him towards the door. More efficient use of the resources I have. Isn't that what you've been trying to teach me? You're getting there, Sam chuckles. Hey, Sam, Gilbert's voice brings the past rushing back. So it sounds like he's approaching them. Is he approaching them? Sam forces a smile. Gilbert, she replies, I thought you worked the early morning shift. I was hoping to avoid crossing your path. I'm not ready to explain this to Riley yet. I do. John was coming down with something, so I'm filling in. How have you been? Haven't seen you in a while. Good, she adds for Riley's benefit. We went to high school together back in the day. She wills Riley not to ask more. Isn't it funny how time slips away? The tune of Willie Nelson plays in her mind's ear. Her mind's ear? Mind's eye? I think it's mind's eye. I feel like it's... Okay, so she's hearing a sound. I guess that's why it's saying mine's ear, but I don't know. Okay, I'm going to leave it. Gilbert sets his work aside, and Sam feels the pressure of explaining, amplified by how time has visibly aged him. No man ever steps in the same river twice. Heraclitus, I hear you, and the message is how, if we try to revisit the past, everything and everyone has changed, including ourselves. Riley bounces his gaze between them, his curiosity obvious. High school, his tone carries a hint of disbelief. The committee, undeterred, continues. The only constant in life is change. I get it. I plotted this so he wouldn't be here. But variables I couldn't account for, so now I have to deal with it. This is not the place to have the discussion with Riley that I'm easily twice his age. Unless you have... Unless you have some thoughts on that. No, then let me shut this one down for later discussion. Yeah, she doesn't look a day older than when I saw her last, Gilbert says with a smile. A little, Sam forces the blush to her cheeks. The flattery isn't necessary, but appreciated. Oh, but it so is. Riley's smile drips with sarcasm. Sam redirects her irritation toward him. I kind of wanted it to be him because you've got Riley mentioned, but I guess we're gonna roll with it because I see more hymns down here. Okay, we're gonna. Sam directs her irritation toward Riley. I am self-conscious. What am I doing? My brain is thinking about a couple different things. It's like, what is this? But we haven't got there yet. And so I'm trying to get there, and it's not letting me get there. And then it's still back here thinking whether or not we should have this be him or Riley, because Gilbert is also in the scene. But because Riley speaks and she's responding to him, I was inclined to want this to be him. We're just going to go with notes and video because I haven't finished the sentence, and so I may change my mind about that recommendation. If my brain would like to let me finish the sentence, that would be wonderful. Let's try again. Sam directs her irritation toward Riley. I am self-conscious about it, okay? She holds her hand out in a slight gesture, signaling him to leave it alone. Okay, so you'd have two hymns, but I don't know. We could try it both ways. Let's try it the other way so you can hear it both ways and you can decide. Sam directs her irritation toward him. I am self-conscious about it, okay? She holds her hand out in a slight gesture, signaling him to leave it alone. It's fine either way. It's fine either way. Riley whispers, Miss the cue? Uh-huh. It's okay, though. You realized it. That makes you the lead. I don't want to be lead. Too bad. Blank happens. Gilbert straightens. What can I do for you, agents? Who are bickering like children. Okay. Sam's fingers brush against Riley's hand in a grounding motion. Anxiety radiates from him, prickling the air like static before a thunderstorm. It's an energy Sam knows well, a familiar signal she's learned to read whenever others are thrown into situations beyond their comfort zone. Carter wasn't wrong. Simmons the bells and whistles. She can hear them now, the alarm sounding from Riley's nerves. Riley starts. A concern has been raised that the tracking software you're using is susceptible to a breach. We were tasked to verify updates, and the data matches a test ping we sent out. Your system didn't initiate a return response. She senses him working through it, like an engine trying to turn over, searching for his footing in the sea of his training. What he said, she chimes in, using the moment to redirect. He's the geek, and I'm the tag-along to ensure he checked it. I'm downplaying my skills on purpose. I know I have the connection to Gilbert. The easy play is batting eyelashes. The lady in need with the sexual innuendo behind it. I'm reading the same things you are. He's had a crush on me since we met. That's why Riley gets the lead. Facts without feelings. You want Amanda out of it? You think my judgment is skewed because of feelings there? Fine. There's a non-involved party, just like you demanded. Mind if we take a quick peek? She asks, keeping her voice casual. Check off a couple of boxes and then we'll be out of your hair. So this internal dialogue back here is a little bit long. I'm downplaying my skills on purpose. I know I have the connection to Gilbert. So is she telling them? I guess she's telling the committee. The easy play is batting eyelashes. The lady in in need with the sexual innuendo behind it. I'm reading the same things you are. He's had a crush on me since we met. That's why Riley gets the lead. Facts without feelings. You want Amanda out of it? I think you think my judgment is skewed because of feelings there. Fine. Here's a non-involved party, just like you demanded. So Riley. Okay. We're gonna roll with it. Not a problem, Gilbert agrees, unlocking the door. One hurdle down, Sam leans in close to Riley. Do your thing. Be you. I've got the other. I'm your shield of awesome, okay? Riley nods, and Sam feels his tension start to melt away. His gaze sweeps the room, cataloging details with a methodical precision she admires. All networked together and running through the terminal over there, he points to it. Yes, Gilbert replies, then turns to her. Sam? Okay, some pausing. I kind of still thought they were outside. Oh, there he unlocked the door. Okay. I was like, I thought they were outside. So he unlocked the door. So now they're in. All right, here we go. What he does, it's like magic, but he needs his space. A few minutes and we'll know if there's an issue. Riley takes his seat at the computer and Sam positions herself between him and Gilbert, a subtle but deliberate barrier. She can feel the ripple of unease leaving Riley as he starts typing. Riley's fingers dance over the keyboard and the diagnostic screen appears. Digits of the first test script, he asks. 7324396, Sam rattles off. Her eyes fall to the printer, studying it. Not received. The second, Riley asks, more confident. 7693472. Sam replies, You're giving him the prescription numbers. If you wish to be unnoticed, this is not the way to go. Hey guys, this is a simple yes or no scenario. Did it arrive or did it not? We haven't tested at other pharmacies. This is a ruse. I know your objections. You've voiced them quite well. He has permission to access the system, so no law's broken. I'm providing him information that should be present, but I know at least one is not. Nothing on that one either, Riley says, pausing. The timestamp on the first call? 8:53 p.m., Sam answers. I know it's crossing some lines. Okay, your rules. I won't embellish, but we've got to give Gilbert something. Otherwise this looks and will be perceived as targeted. I know it is. Can I offer a little cover in a vague way? Thanks. We've been using the same numbers all day. I'm going to be saying them in my sleep. She lowers her voice to a whisper directed at Riley. You've got this. If you need to, pretend you're talking to me. I'm right there. Right here. Riley nods, then addresses Gilbert. Manager? Yes, sir, Gilbert returns. Sam can feel Riley's unease, but also his adherence to the facts. Your system didn't receive our test ping. I need to dig a little further. I'd suggest a test that isn't our dummy. Riley looks up at Sam. Clemens, he asks. You live around here. Have you filled anything? Different input parameters? All right, so now we're moving on to section 4, but it's not a different section. It's just for her. Yeah, but I shouldn't, with work and all. Sam meets Riley's eyes, nudging him to continue. Better if I just see what I can find without knowing the ultra-sensitive personal information. It's a good security check either way. I agree. Okay, so did Riley say this or I think Riley said this. And then who agreed, Sam or Gilbert? Because we have 3 players in the room. So I'm just going to say notes and video. Just because we've got 3 speakers, I now need either action or dialogue tags. I got to have something. Riley moves his hands over the keys, takes a few moments to contemplate what is on the screen, then continues. A file pops up. Sam notices her name and pharmaceutical profile. Riley looks up to her. That's some serious... Hey, she fires. Personal private information. Noted, Riley swallows, trying to cover his embarrassment with an innocent smile. Sam senses the fear he's trying to suppress, the worry that he's overstepped. Outside of sitting here, could you have accessed that? Not without a lot of effort. It's old stuff. Look at the dates. Care to argue any of those? No, Sam smirks. This is really what you wanted me to check? In a roundabout sort of way, yes. What you see, you maintain here. Where you go from here is up to you. Okay, so... I mean, Gilbert's just standing there letting them do this? Is this something he should be letting them do? Okay. It's not, but if it were, I wouldn't have involved so many personal barriers. Myself, possibility of Gilbert, the proximity to my home, and the instigating factor being delivered to my apartment. I found fault, but I needed it corroborated independently. And my memory is where you went. She feels his disappointment. In a way, yes, I see people in multifaceted ways. You're not just one thing. You can't categorize us no matter how hard you try. Okay. So profiling is totally out the window for a career path. Sam chuckles. Principles are good. I disagree with how they are skewed to someone on the hunt. That's me, not you. What do you want to do right now? I want to get more data because there is something wrong here. Then do it. You have permission and access to the system. We formulate our stuff from different sides of the spectrum. You, data. Me, not so much. You don't work with people, but I do. She tilts her head towards Gilbert. Ask what you need. Okay. So is Gilbert, while they're doing this, so Gilbert's given them access because they're agents. He's let them in, and they're doing this research. Riley seemed nervous, like they were doing something they shouldn't be doing and that they might get caught. And I feel like Gilbert's the one watching the room. Where is Gilbert while they're doing this? Because I felt like he was standing right there with them. And so now she's kind of like looking towards him. I'm imagining imagining the three of them, or I'm imagining Riley at a computer, and then like Sam and Gilbert standing on either side of him. That's kind of the image I've got. If that's not how the characters are positioned, that's the image I have. So I'm wondering, because I'm just wondering, where is Gilbert? Some of the conversation they're having feels like something they might not want Gilbert to hear, as there's like little mutterings here and there, but between Sam and Riley. And so I'm like, if Gilbert's right beside them, he's not across the room working on something at his desk or at a desk, or he's not doing something. Is this okay? We're gonna keep going. Okay. I guess what I'll do is I'm gonna say notes in video, because that'll help you get the area where I started feeling like I'm not sure of the position of the characters. It doesn't mean it was right here. It's just I'm reflecting on the conversation, and I'm wondering how much of it is supposed to be like, is it just fine enough for Gilbert to know all of this conversation? It feels like they're trying to keep certain parts of it from him, and therefore the positioning of the character is relevant. Okay, we're gonna keep going. It's all right there. Gilbert points to a file folder behind the terminal. We've been having some issues. Night manager spends half his shift on the phone with them. Issues? That's a nice word. Guys, let Riley do this. It's better for both of us. I know you don't like it because it started with Amanda, but I throw the argument. How many innocents could be caught up in this? And it was only noticed because I have the memory, and I have you. Yes, I'm including what your history excluded, but you do have good input and insight. I can't put that into a court. What Riley might find, he can, and he can back it up. Riley grabs the folder and flips through it. Communication outage could be our culprit. I see login credentials to their websites. Permission to look at the call logs from their side, he asks. Sure, why not? Should I be concerned here? Gilbert asks of Sam. No, worst case scenario, you've been hacked. Not your fault. The software is up to date. Even I can see that. If there were a breach, depending on the level and extent, you would have to send out notifications, but that's a worst case. Agent Riley is the best. If something is going on, he'll find it, right? She touches Riley's shoulder. Uh-huh. It's why we're doing this. Riley's eyes are glued to the screen, his fingers moving fast. Hopefully, we caught it before anything got out. We patched the hole and all is good. Fair warning, I'm going to be looking at your account and your employees, narrowing in on when things did or didn't disappear. Are you okay with that? You think someone stole from us? Gilbert questions. Sam, Riley asks, giving her a brief begging look. I gotcha. Okay, hang on. I think we're getting a little... No, we're not. Okay, stop. My goodness, go away. Okay. I gotcha. Gilbert, numbers to people is a hard bridge to span. Okay. I gotcha. Gilbert, numbers to people is a hard bridge to span. Riley is looking for discrepancies, patterns that may or may not be an issue. There are hackers out there that work on skimming off $1 on a transaction. No one sees it. It's normal day-to-day stuff, but they make thousands by changing a tiny bit of code in your systems. You give the right amount of pills. You charge the price. You're just doing your job. But the software could be adding monetary elements that aren't going to taxes or the manufacturer. This is part of why we're here. See if that is present. Gilbert hesitates, glancing at a customer who just entered. Is it okay if he gestures, seeking permission to help the newcomer. Go ahead, Riley says, eyes never leaving the screen. We're almost done here. A few minutes, maybe? Yeah, that's fine. Gilbert steps away. Sam leans in. I might not be as good as you at this, but what I'm seeing is going to involve more than a few minutes, she whispers. Yeah, and a warrant that goes to the corporate level, Riley mutters back. We need to be heading out. Otherwise, Dial-A-Dealer will get suspicious and close up shop. You live nearby. Laptop we could use? Sam grimaces. I have better at home, but the roommate is not up for visitors. You'll let him... Okay, I'm checking our spacing, but I'm thinking we need the word in on this. In on this? Let me just try it. You'll let him in on this, but not your secrets with Amanda? That you've been hiding her for years and hold feelings for her? We find fault. Oh, I get that you do. You've weaponized them in a way that makes you more onyx than crystal. Not judging, but it is hard. I see this as building a foundation over a roof without steady support. If people like Riley can uncover the yuck without crystal help, good on them. It's what you want, isn't it? Awareness to the injustices against you. Awareness to the injustices against you. I know it's a hard leap to work with the Emerald, but just pause for a moment and consider how much of underdogs they are. How much of underdogs they are. How much the underdogs they are. I feel like that might be a the. We need to come to an agreement. You do a crime, you pay for it in appropriate fashion. The definition of crime is where I find fault. Okay. Don't want that. That. There we go. Sam, you okay? Riley asks of her, lost in thought. Yeah, she digs into her wallet and hands him a $20 bill. You bet right. He pushes it back to her. The game isn't done yet, and I'm going to double down. Why? Sam asks. A host. They don't get a choice and are controlled by what invaded them. An heir. It's a battle, usually with family by the data. Historian. It's facts, but they are skewed by the other two and the pictures they paint in the writing. It's the harder to dispute. You're an heir, Sam. Hang on. You're an heir, Sam, whether you want to admit it or not. Don't bet on me. She pushes the bill back to him. I am, so take it. You know it as well as I do. Money is easy for us. We can walk into a casino with 100 and walk out a few minutes later with thousands. It's the thought that counts, so let mine count. Riley, someone is taking advantage in this system. I will find it. I think I already have. And Chavez, Andrews, and Collins can help me bring them to justice. You're going to bring me to tears, Sam says with a mirthful twist to her timbre. Not that worthy, but the sentiment is noted. So should we blow this burger joint and go to a real one? I'm starving. You leave a back door, Sam asks. Duh. Fine. You can use the tablet in the car to watch cat videos while we eat lunch. I'm not judging. Riley chuckles. The cat videos are just entertainment. I know, Sam whispers. Maybe you should adopt me. Allergic. Are you? Sam asks. No, but that doesn't mean... You're playing with me to say that it's the shedding, scratching, litter box thing. Little bit, she smiles. You know they have hairless cats. Don't want one. Afraid of responsibility? I'd rather talk to Andrews about that. Sam picks it up in his emotions as well as the opening to offer levity. So you are. Let's see. Yes, and a lot of other things are unpredictable and act randomly. That's why I'm not good at people. I'll give you that. She gets the truth of his feelings. I know he's scary and all, but you might talk to S.A.C. Garrett. He helped me in a non-traditional way. Our memories, we naturally see the worst in the numbers and apply it to everyone. He's got some good ideas there. Observe. Gilbert, where might the aspirin be? Gilbert points. The last row over there, about halfway down. But aren't you allergic? Sam cuts him off. Yeah, they're for Riley. Are you? Riley whispers, getting up. No, but see, that is someone who remembers a detail related to his job, and it comes off as caring. You can fake it, or because he stalked you. Stalked is such a strong term. I prefer appreciated to remember. Uh-huh. And I'm getting an aspirin because, he asks as they get to the row. And looking through the as they get to the row and looking through the options. He asks as they get to the row, browsing and browse the options and browse the options and browse the options. Okay. And browse. Okay. Let's try it again. And I'm getting aspirin because, he asks as they get to the row and browse the options. Dial a dealer heard you suggest as much. Always assume they have the same attention to detail that we might. This one, she makes a selection and hands it to him. Why this one? Riley asks, moving to the counter. It's got caffeine in it, and if you need to lay chase, you'll have a better chance in about 15 minutes. She smirks. Riley lays it on the counter and Gilbert rings it up, and Sam pulls out her card. I'll pay for it. You sure? Riley asks. Yes, and if you're going to argue, I'll bring up Iris. You play mean, Riley retorts. She wasn't supposed to get out. I know, but see, I just walked you into it. Gilbert here is thinking you might have abducted a woman or stole a pet or something. I wasn't, Gilbert stutters. You were curious, right? Sam asks. I'm trained to listen for cues, mostly for those that abuse certain controlled substances, but you're federal agents, so... Hang on. There we go. It shouldn't matter, Sam says. But Riley, explain Iris to Gilbert, and why I might drop her as a leverage tool against you. Riley lowers his head so that his eyes won't meet those of Gilbert. Iris was an unfinished set of code I was working on to monitor financial transactions. I encoded her into a prepaid debit card I had, and got her too close to an NFT at a gas station we all frequented. Too many variables crossing paths, and it would deposit 10 cents off every transaction, whether cash or card, to an account I created using Clement's name as a dummy variable, as it was the one used right before Iris deployed. When the system updated, it spread to multiple other stations around. Riley clears his throat. She caught it on her credit report, I think. But anyway, in her presence, she doesn't trust me to purchase things. Not necessarily not trust, just concerned she might get out again. My bias. She looks to Gilbert. He's repentant. We gave all the money back, with penalties included. But it's why I think he's the best to see if something like that happened here. And I'm watching over his shoulder. That makes sense. Agent Riley, did something like that happen here? Gilbert asks. Not that I can see, but Iris was designed to hide rather well. I believe why Clemens brought it up is because there's a possibility someone else might have copied Iris in her beginnings, and because of her base coding, me the author, Clemens the victim, it would be her fault, her default. It's the first time we've done a transaction since then together in company. Your cameras, in combination with her card and what the transaction history say, are something we can see from both sides now. I know it sounds scary, Sam says, giving a wink to Gilbert. The two best people in the world to find it would be us in combination. It looks like you're clear. Did you worry me for no reason? Gilbert asks as he places the aspirin into a small bag and slides it over. Maybe a tiny bit. You've always had a vigilant eye from what I remember. Good with math. Just keep an eye out. If it's a $10 purchase, make sure it's 10 and not 10 and 10 cents. And the change on a 20 is $9.90. I can do that. Anything else I should be looking out for? No, that's enough. She frees a card from her pocket. If you're worried about it, give me a ring. That's my personal cell. I'm just up the block, so it's not a big thing, and I don't mind doing it to ensure things are on the level. Thanks, Sam, or should I call you Agent Clemens? Sam is fine, she chuckles. She feels the sense of pride at obtaining her card. Glad it turned out to be okay. Thank you, Agent Riley. Anytime, Gilbert, he returns. Agent Clemens, I hope you don't mind my question, but do you still run with Severin? Gilbert asks. He sees it, your affinity for female companionship. The committee chimes. Judgment starts in 3, 2, now. Wow, Gilbert doesn't see it. He's just hopeful. You inserted innuendo into a question. How judgmental of you. Yeah, why? Sam asks. Okay, let's see. So, maybe, nope, take that out. Okay. Just haven't seen her in a while, though given when I saw her last, it had me concerned. I was worried, neighbor and all. Sam detects the deceit, and it has multiple layers. Neighbor, he wants Amanda as well, a predator. Will you stop? Seriously, a member of one sex can appreciate one of another without it having to lead to intercourse and marriage. I get that you're rooted in religion and all, and I'm not because of you, but come on. She's doing okay, Sam replies. It's hard for her to get out much these days. I'll let her know and tell her to make an appearance. I didn't mean to, Gilbert starts. No, it's okay. If something was wrong, you'd be someone who noticed. We're not as neighborly as we used to be. I've been gone for months. She's been alone. Different dynamic. We chatted over the internet, but if something was wrong, I was hundreds of miles away. I appreciate the inquest. I really do, Sam says. Catch you later? Okay. She asks. I don't think you need that. Anytime, Sam, Gilbert says. Okay, so we've got says and says. What was our color? We're just going to go with yellow. I don't remember. I think it might have been green up there at the top, but it gets the job done. Sam guides Riley out of the store. The moment they step outside, Riley scans for the suspect, his movements deliberate. Sam follows his gaze. Oh, this could be interesting. You need to arrest them. They're criminals. The committee in near unison returns. While I can prove one, I can't on the other 6 with him, and I do want the bigger fish. Dealers, I want who are lacing the meds with enough to get into the pharmacy systems. The ruse. You think Riley can help you? Us? Okay. There we go. A collection of committee voices return, echoing amongst each other. I do. I know I'm stepping on your toes a bit. We are curious, but bow to your knowledge, and we are concerned over your promises. Hey, it's been less than 12 hours, and you're not worried about the countdown clock Amanda's system had going on? Of course you aren't. You don't like her. But you're more than happy to help me with with the serial killer that looks to have gotten away with it, and all the other cold cases handed to me by Garrett, except one, Simmons' disappearance. What is your judgment? We care not to share. Oh, hit a little close to home. Got it. If you don't want me looking into it, you need to say so now. Oh, I'm going to pause. Okay, so I'm going to highlight my spot, a nice bright pink. I'm going to stop here because it looks like we're going to go back and forth with this whole section of the, I think this is what you were talking about in the notes, where it's a back and forth internal argument between Sam and the committee. So as I'm reading it, it's committee and then Sam and then committee and then Sam. So I can kind of see the flow of back and forth. So in this, you have broken out who it is talking so that with each new paragraph, I know. But up to this point, you haven't done that. And I can see why you're doing it here because this is a lot of text. But there are parts prior to this where it was Sam and the committee in there, and I'm not sure I know which one was talking. I can kind of guess. Some of it I can derive. I have not been doing my typical layout of who I think is speaking, so we can back up really quick because I'm at my time limit for this. We're at an hour. So I'm going to go ahead and do the breakdown for who I think is speaking, and then I'm going to end here, and then I'll do a second video for the second half. All right, so let's see. Sleep deprivation does weird things to people. Sam. Running on fumes will either earn you a medal or put you on a stretcher, just like somebody before you sacrificing yourself for duty. How noble. I think that this is Sam. This seems like it could be the committee, but it could also be Sam. Let's see. Functional, right. More like barely holding it together. Compartmentalized lies propped up with duct tape and denial. Sam. A half-truth I can live with. Sam. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Someone quotes in the committee. So that tells us it's the committee. Same thing in this section. Let's see. Beneath the surface, it's a balancing act. Half-truth and full-blown lies, all carefully maintained. I think this is Sam. Remember Watergate, so that's the committee. I like this format where you have it and then you say who it is that's saying it. That makes it very clear to know. A few little lies to cover tracks, and look where that ended. Resignations and ruined reputations. Oh, how dare you take the high road with things. Okay, this is all Sam. Okay, and then laws. Let's see, the committees, as the wheel creaks under Sam's grip as she prepares for the committee's input. Laws are tools, not shackles. The Boston Tea Party was rebels tossing tea to defy tyranny. Sometimes you break the rules to break chains. Harriet Tubman didn't bow to the laws that upheld slavery. The Underground Railroad ran on courage, not compliance. An unjust law is no law at all. Martin Luther King Jr. knew morality trumps legality. The suffragettes faced jail time to claim their right to speak. Some laws were made to be challenged. Okay, so that all seems like the committee. Did you just agree with me and back up argument? You did. So that's Sam. And I like how it's broken apart. A committee within the committee. So wait, so multiple people in the committee seemed to be chiming in there with some different parts. Amanda Severin, the burden you willingly took, yet the one who endangers you both, even the mighty Caesar trusted Brutus. I feel like this could be... Look how that ended. Benedict Arnold swore loyalty until a better offer came along. The thoughts dark and relentless. Marie Antoinette, trust doesn't stop the blade. Okay, so I feel like this... It follows the rhythm of this part up here. And so I'm inclined to believe it is still the committee. Okay. What if it's just a mistake? Or worse, what if it isn't? Cowards die many times before their deaths, comes the Shakespearean warning. Okay, so this, I think, is Sam. And then this is the committee. The dread of what might happen, the anticipation can be far worse than the danger itself. Like Chamberlain waving his paper in 1938, returning from meeting Hitler declaring peace for our time. I feel like this is all the committee. And then Sam is yelling. And then this is Sam. Okay. And then down here, Amanda can't afford unnecessary scrutiny. So that's Sam. Neither can I. Also Sam. Justice must be steadfast. Okay, so when it's in parentheses, that kind of makes me think it's the committee because it's in parentheses inside her thoughts, which I kind of like because it helps me differentiate. Let's see. I fought the law and the law won. Okay, so the committee... Another one bites the dust. The committee. You know, I gave you pacifists, even idealistic dreamers, but defeatists. Okay, so this, I think, is Sam. Go off and argue about the 3 H's. Oh, you don't like that. How about id, ego, and superego? I've got plenty of the gray matter. I feel like this is Sam. Why am I listening to Dumoulin? He waited patiently. Okay, so this is Sam. Okay, and... Scrolling down through here. I was hoping to avoid crossing your path. I'm not ready to explain this to Riley yet. Sam. Isn't it funny how time slips away? So that's the committee. No man ever steps in the same river twice. So the committee. The committee continues. So this is the committee. And then... Carter wasn't wrong. Simmons, the bells and whistles. That's Sam. Okay. I'm downplaying my skills on purpose. Okay, so this part I was a little confused about, and I kind of wondered if the committee might be in there a bit, but I think it's all Sam. Which is kind of, I kind of wondered who she's talking to. Like she's like self-explaining to herself. I don't know. One hurdle down. Sam. Okay. You're giving him the prescription numbers. If you wish to be unnoticed, this is not the way to go. So that is the committee. And then, hey guys, this is a simple yes or no scenario. Did it arrive or did it not? We haven't tested at other pharmacies. This is a ruse. I know your objection. So this is Sam arguing with them. I'm kind of wondering if we put them like in, if you put quotations mark around them, if it would just help this be very clear. Because if you see the italics, you're immediately going to know it's internal thought. And if it had quotations around what the committee is saying, you're going to know it's the committee, and then the direct internal thoughts are Sam's. That seems like the clearest. It seems to work the best at clearing that up. I know it's crossing some lines. Okay, your rules. I won't embellish, but we've got to give Gilbert something. So this is all Sam. Right. We are, okay, issues. That's a nice word. Guys, let Riley do this. It's better for both of us. I know you don't like it. So this is Sam. Okay. You'll let him in on this, but not your secrets with Amanda. That seems like that is the committee. You've been hiding her for hold feelings for her. Okay, yeah. So this is the committee. Not judging, but it is hard. I see this as building a foundation over a roof without steady support. If people like Riley can uncover the yuck. Okay, that sounds like Sam. Okay, on this paragraph, I'm not really sure who is, I'm going to say notes and video. On this paragraph, I am not really sure who is, like, which one is the committee and which one is Sam, because there's kind of a back and forth going on from what I'm reading. All right, we're going to keep going. He sees it, your affinity for female companionship. So that's the committee, and it says so. Okay. Neighbor, he wants Amanda as well, a predator. Will you stop? So, see, I feel like this is the committee, and this is Sam. Seriously? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, this could be interesting. Sam, you need to arrest them. They are criminals. The committee in near unison returns. Okay, yeah. So it's stated. The ruse, you think Riley can help you, a collection of committee voices. So it identifies, we are curious but bow to your knowledge, but we are concerned over your promises. Okay. All right, so with this one, the ruse, you think Riley can help you, us, a collection of committee voices return, echoing amongst each other. I do. I kind of feel like you could put Sam out to the side, separate paragraph here. I do. I know I'm stepping on your toes a bit. We are curious. I think that would help clear that up a little bit. All right, and this is where we start the argument back and forth between them. So I'm going to identify up to the pink part, and then the pink part's going to be my marker of where I'm going to pick up when I come back. One thing I would look for in here is when you have this separated out like this, which I think is very helpful, and I understand why you're doing it because it goes on for so long. I would make sure that there is none of Sam's lines mixed in with that, because I'm going to completely take, committee Sam as the pattern that my brain will expect as I'm reading. We are curious but bow to your knowledge, but we are concerned over your promises. Hey, it's been less than 12 hours and you're not worried about the countdown clock Amanda's system had going on. Of course you aren't. You don't like her. But you're more than happy to help me with the serial killer that looks to have gotten away with it, and all the other cold cases handed to me by Garrett except one, Simmons' disappearance. What is your judgment? We care not to share. Oh, hit a little close to home, got it. If you don't want me looking into it, you need to say so now. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there at my highlighted spot, and because we're at an hour and 18 minutes, and I will pick up, and we will call this one 14A, and the next one will be 14B. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. I'll see you next time on Mystery Red Reads.